It was different. I was excited. I was also nervous.
I was excited to be independent.
IU's not as big as it seems.
I kind of had 2 first days.
I have a lot of anxiety with meeting new people.
I was super nervous.
I've only seen it in movies.
I was ready to make new friends.
Everybody welcomed me with open arms.
I met my university best friend in one of the first classes I attended.
I had no idea where I was going at all.
I was never afraid, even once, to ask for directions.
My first day was honestly amazing.
Nervous I was going to get lost on campus or go to the wrong classroom.
It was so stressful, and then it became so great.
I'm Monica Johnson, University Director for Diversity Education and Cross-Cultural Engagement and the Director of the Neil Marshall Black Culture Center, which is Indiana University's oldest cultural center on campus. Annually around this time, we host a program called CultureFest, where we bring together all of the culture centers and other members of our very diverse cross-cultural community to celebrate what makes Indiana University great. And what makes Indiana University great is the reality that we have people from everywhere, from different walks of life, cultural identities, and experiences that come to this one place to learn how to learn, and to learn how to be a member of a growingly diverse community. Because we didn't want to miss out on that opportunity, we brought together students from all across campus to reflect, to remember what that very first day on campus was like, to remember that moment when Indiana University felt like home, and to think about the times when Indiana University did not feel as welcoming or as safe. But most importantly, all of the students we brought together talked about how they reconnected with this community, how they re-engaged with a community that is growing, that is learning together, and that is growing to challenge some of the most troubling times that we have seen as a people. And lastly, each of these students has provided advice that they wish that they could give to their first day, first semester self. So today, I challenge you to listen with an open heart and open mind, and know that you may hear things that are so familiar. You may hear experiences that you've never heard, experienced, or thought of. But I welcome you to learn a little bit more about the community you are joining, a diverse community.
It was very rainy. It rained the whole entire day. And so I was already pretty nervous, and I just remember thinking, what if all my notebooks are wet? Had no idea where I was going at all. So I have an umbrella in one hand and my phone in the other, trying to navigate campus. But I just remember feeling nervous, but I was also really excited. And at the end of the day, my best friends and I, we went down to our lobby and we played cards and talked about our first day. So it ended up being a really good day.
First day was actually my busiest day because I had 4 classes. So, going to each building, I had my Google Maps out, with my phone out in front of me. Yeah, it was actually pretty embarrassing because I was on my phone. And so when I went to cross the street, I wasn't paying attention really. So I actually almost got hit by a bike. It was totally my fault. And the biker even yelled at me, and passerby saw and were like, what is this girl doing? So it was pretty embarrassing.
I really connected to IU probably that first week where I was just so grateful to be there. I didn't realize, I knew I was going to IU, but it didn't really hit me until I was there. And just walking down campus onto Kirkwood and grabbing Buffalo Louie's was when it really hit me.
The moment I knew IU was home was during an event at the Neil Marshall. I was fortunate to be a part of the freshman action team of Black Student Union, and we held an event. We created our first fat event for Thanksgiving. And seeing so many students come and to sit and fellowship with each other prior to Thanksgiving, it made me realize that this is family, this is home. to see all of the individuals, the staff members who work at the Neil Marshall Black Culture Center, who work at the Group Scholars Program, who genuinely care, who always check on me, or if I'm checking on other people, I'm checking on them. It's like, it feels like a family, it feels like connection.
IU felt like home when my group's program, our class finally learned our chant, and we were chanting it so loud and just all together, and we would do it multiple times just because it was so much fun. And now every time we do it, it's just like a really fun bonding experience. It's something that we're all connected with, and we could just, one person could scream G, and everyone who was in groups would just start screaming it every year. It didn't matter if you were in my class, it didn't matter if you were an upperclassman. It just kind of like, it was like my little family.
So I think it comes in waves a little bit, just like any other community, in the sense that for me, it did not feel like home in the first day or the first week or anything like that, because I was still getting to know people. I didn't know a lot of people. I was getting involved with things, but I didn't like have any roots at IU for me to like feel connected. I think it progressively feels more like home every year I go back, and every year I have more things to do, more people that I know, and more connections and things like that. But I think that what always brings me back is how the students are, the culture of the students, always willing to help one another, always willing to kind of uplift voices and speak out for what's right. That always makes it feel like I'm in the right spot.
So all my exams in my first semester all fell in the same week, which I think is pretty normal, actually. I don't know. But I just remember feeling like so overwhelmed and thinking like, maybe this isn't what I shouldn't have been doing. Like, I didn't feel like I was cut out to meet all these like criteria. And I just remember like being super stressed out, and I was just so scared that I was gonna like fail all my classes and I'd have to move back home. And but
there was definitely a moment during my freshman year where I was experiencing a lot of mental exhaustion, and and my mental health was definitely declining at a rate that I hadn't like experienced in a while since like when I first started high school. So it was like really easy, especially being out of state, not being in the comfort of like my hometown, to like kind of fall into that pit trap of like, what am I doing here? I don't really deserve to be here. Like, did I really make the right choice? And I think that's something that a lot of people have to face eventually in their careers, because it's like a lot of us go into college, it's like you might not necessarily know what you want to do. Even if you do, you might not necessarily know what you want to do with like your major. So I think for me, it was just like putting too much workload on myself, and like, I think just like having that mindset of like, oh, I have to do all this like right now, like it's only another 4 years, and then like I'm already behind everybody, and just experiencing that like level of burnout and kind of just like losing the faith I had in my passion for music was what really kind of made my freshman year not as great as it could have been. But I think that was like the only moment where IU wasn't necessarily like, I didn't necessarily feel at home.
I can't describe it. It was bad. Imagine everyone you know not liking you. Ugh, it was bad.
It was actually my second semester, freshman year. We were all sitting there. I don't know how it came up, but they were talking about like their right, like to say this, certain word, and like it's a racial slur. Like no one has a right to that. And everyone seemed to agree with them. Like everyone in their room seemed to agree like that they were allowed to say this word. And I was just sitting there like completely dumbfounded. Like I didn't know what to say. I was just so shocked that these people like thought they were entitled to this and really did not have an understanding about why this was so wrong. And I ended up leaving because I just like did not want to be in that environment anymore. I, barely even felt safe. So I just left. And I remember the next morning I actually, called my mom crying because I just like couldn't believe that these people acted the way they did, that they felt the way they did, that they like felt so entitled to this. And I was just, completely dumbfounded. And I did lose my connection with IU a little bit. I just felt like after that, I felt on the outside, and I felt like IU was lacking in terms of, diversity. So I did find myself going home, a lot of weekends after that.
It's crazy. So the next summer, while I was at home working, there was surfing around that there were KKK posters surfacing around Bloomington. And it really made me scared for my safety. I'm a Black and I'm a woman, so I understand the hardships it is, especially with racism, and to see that surfacing around the campus really made me fear for my safety, made me think like maybe this is not where I need to be, maybe this is not where I'm supposed to be, because it's dangerous that there are people who do not like me simply because of the color of my skin that are walking around this campus. And I was questioning if I want to continue to be here.
It was more so in the School of Education for me. Finding out like my freshman year, like knowing I was one in five African-American males in the School of Education. At that moment, I was just like, wow. Like, first of all, there's not many, men in my field. And then when I started to kind of look at the faculty dynamic of the School of Education, I'm like, there's not a lot of Black male professors here either. And there weren't many people that I can kind of look up to and like draw from, like, hey, like you're doing all the things I want to do. Like, how do I get there? Or what were your steps that you were taking?
Just vented everything. I really got it I tried to get that out of my system to someone else, her, and it helped a lot. And then afterwards, she took me to Goodfellas Pizza on Kirkwood and introduced me to breadsticks that they have, which are the size of your arm. I am now addicted.
It has always been grounding myself in the people I know has helped me reconnect with IU and the community. It's just always reminding myself and seeing like all the cool things that people are doing and everyone that's willing to like be there for you when you reach out for help, whether it's professors or like anyone who you reach out to, they're trying their best to be there for you, or will like connect you to someone if they cannot help you. So I think that has always kind of helped me reconnect with the community.
I decided that I wanted to make a change in terms of like who I hung out with, and I wanted to, align myself with people who really, shared my morals and shared my views. So I started trying to get more involved in different clubs. One of the clubs that I joined was like this, it's through Hutton Honors, it's called Law and Policy Council. And I met these incredible people that I really connected with. And, one person I connected with in particular was actually our president. And I loved her because she is so involved in like social justice and making change. Not to mention she's, another woman of color, and she's my age, but I totally look up to her. She's so cool. I just really connected with that group, and I felt like they really aligned with my morals and kind of reconnected me with IU.
The Culture Center is a great thing I definitely think it a lot, because although IU is a great institution, there are some times where they don't really know how to like again, I am a DACA student, so sometimes I would have immigration questions, and the Culture Center was definitely my home away from home, because that's where I felt safe to talk about that topic and to ask about it, because growing up I always felt like I needed to hide that I was an immigrant, but the Culture Center definitely reassured me that I don't have to hide it, because I'm proving all these people wrong about what they think about immigrants. And she was also the director of the Culture Center, would always reassure me, like although I'm not from here, I'm still doing the same things others who are born here are. So she was very warm, she was very heartwarming, and I definitely consider her like an IU mom.
And I was able to talk to my friends, and we were able to reconnect and to understand things and understand that even though there are some racist things, we can really overcome that, especially if we're working together, and especially if we have that support system. So that's when I was able to reconnect and say, no, y'all not about to kick me out. This is my home. Bloomington and IU is my home.
I reconnected to IU by taking a study break. At McNutt, I would walk down to either Hodge and then walk back to my dorm just to get some fresh air, or go to Briscoe and back. Also, I would sometimes just go with a couple of my friends to the IU football stadium just to get my mind off things and be like, oh wow, I'm a Hoosier. I'm one of these fans and fanatics of this state. And I'm just always proud to be a Hoosier. Whenever I'm just walking around campus, I just feel like myself.
Take risks and put yourself out there.
Just telling myself, do more of what you want and less worrying about what you don't, I guess.
My main advice would be ready to accept change and not shy away from it.
I would say just take a moment and breathe sometimes.
I don't know, just live by like what you want and not by what others want or like how others see you.
So tell myself, don't limit myself to who my roommates hang out with or who my other friends hang out with, because I think I did that a lot, where I would kind of like follow my roommates and like do whatever they wanted to do, hang out with whoever they wanted to hang out. And that definitely did limit me, and I didn't really connect with, who they were hanging out with. And I think that's what, made me feel so much on the outside. So definitely, go my own route and join new clubs, join new organizations, just try to meet new people.
I needed the reminder that this wasn't high school. Like I think college is different than high school. The academic is very different, and you have these distractions of being by yourself. You're not with your fam. You're not with your mom or dad to tell you like, hey, you need to study. No, you're not. So I would say, while enjoying your freshman year activities, still make connections. And by making connections, I would say open up, talk to people you don't normally talk to, stay connected with advisors and teachers. And also another thing I would say is care about yourself. So take time aside with being your friends. Go to lunch by yourself, work out by yourself, find new activities to do. I
would tell him to get ahead on work and not fall behind. And also just relax and don't pay attention to all the small stuff and get caught up in it. For example, if you do poorly on one assignment, or if you don't have anything to do your first Friday night or Saturday night, don't get worried, because the friends will definitely come, and so will the grades. You just have to keep putting yourself out there.
I tell my first year stuff, there's definitely more coming. I remember there would be times I'd be like, is this it? Like, everyone talks about college and this is all I'm doing. But no, it's definitely, everything just takes its course in time. Definitely take baby steps. It's okay to take baby steps in college. You're learning everything still. No one's expecting you to be a pro. And definitely to reach out for help. Again, that does with the baby steps. Reach out for help. A lot of people love helping college students. So.
I would tell my first year self to not be so shy. Definitely not be so shy. To be more out there, and regardless of how people see you, it's more about yourself and growing as a person. I can definitely say I've grown from my freshman year to now.
To take time and make time for myself. Is that coming into college, there's so many different opportunities, and because it's never an opportunity that you've had before, you want to take advantage of it, and you want to be like a yes man to it. So I would tell myself, you don't have to say yes to everything, because doing that, I got burnt out in some way, shape, or form, where it's like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, because I was literally a part of 4 different organizations my freshman year, and it was just my ability to not even say, or my inability to say no. So I would say you need to make more time for yourself, and that mental component, they don't prepare you for the mental, the true isolation that you kind of go through within college, which again is imperative to your growth as well. And I had to struggle through learning how to take my mental health serious. Where that is, and I'm stressed, I'm a little depressed, I'm sad, I don't know what I'm happy, I don't know what my purpose is, and kind of going through all of those and finding those opportunities to get reconnected. So that's why I'm saying, more so like that's where you find your core group of friends, people to lean on when you fall down, because you do not have to bear the burden alone.
Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to your peers as they shared their experience. As you start this journey, I wish you the absolute best. I hope that the days ahead of you are the best days yet. But when times get tough, I want you to know that here at Indiana University, you have a community, a diverse community that is waiting to stand with you, to celebrate with you, to challenge you, and to take on the fight whenever you decide to fight. Welcome home. Welcome to Indiana University.